Hello everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up warning. This post contains spoilers for Daredevil, Born Again Episode 6 okay. So I'm actually not that bothered by the big change the MCU made to Muse in Daredevil, Born Again. For the most part, the live-action adaptation of the serial-killing artist has been pretty dead compared to the version seen in the original Marvel comics. However, it's worth noting that the MCU's Muse looks to be without his superpowers, though I do think it was ultimately for the best. After multiple teases, Muse makes his full debut in Daredevil, Born Again Episode 6. Learning that one serial killer is responsible for several missing victims and the impervious murals across the city made with human blood, Mayor Fisk uses the crisis to justify his anti-vigilant task force. However, Matt Murdock finds Muse first, finally suiting up as Daredevil when Angela Del Toro is kidnapped by the sinister artist. With Daredevil getting the chance to fight Muse one-on-one in this new episode, I'm really glad Marvel Studios decided not to give Muse his powers from the comics, and I'll explain why. Before Daredevil, Born Again Episode 6, Muse had been teased via his various pro-vigilant and anti-Fisk murals seen all over the city. Likewise, he'd also been shown taking bodies down to this lair located within abandoned subway tunnels, draining his victims' blood to use as paint, as well as gouging their eyes out. Now, Daredevil, Born Again Episode 6 puts Muse front and center as the first real threat Murdock faces after deciding to finally let the devil out after spending so long suppressing his darker half following the death of Foggy Nelson. With Daredevil being highly trained in martial arts and various forms of combat, it's impressive that Muse holds his own as long as he does in Daredevil, Born Again Episode 6. He certainly knows how to fight, getting some good hits before Daredevil ultimately gains the upper hand and nearly kills the serial-killing artist. However, Muse and Daredevil's showdown would have gone much differently had Muse had his powers from the comics. On the page, Muse is more than just a serial killer with a disturbing signature, using his victim's blood in his art. He'd also had some key superpowers that are tied to his implied status as an Inhuman. While he was never outright confirmed to be an Inhuman on the page, Muse was referred to as such in certain issue credits, and he was placed in the Inhuman's custody the first time he was arrested. Regardless, Muse's powers are quite impressive, regardless of their ambiguous origin. Right off the bat, the Muse of the comics has variable degrees of super strength, super speed, and endurance. This allows him to tear his victims apart for his disturbing artwork, while also being able to evade capture and withstand extreme amounts of pain. That said, Muse's most unique power is his imperceptibility, effectively generating a sort of vortex around him that pulls in every kind of sensory information. It's the perfect counter when fighting someone like Daredevil, making it extremely hard for Murdock to track Muse, even with his enhanced senses. Keeping the above in mind and considering the more grounded focus of Daredevil, Born Again, I do think it was a good thing that Muse doesn't appear to have any powers in the MCU. The fight with Daredevil would have likely been very one-sided otherwise, and it's worth noting that Daredevil didn't fully take down Muse in the comics either. On the page, Muse was ultimately burned alive by the supernatural beast of the hand, the supernatural entity worshipped by the classic Marvel ninja clan. Aside from not having his powers on screen, Muse still looks incredible as a dead ringer to the original comic book villain, and he's still creating his dark works of art. Both elements are arguably much more important to the character's overall depiction than his abilities, allowing the MCU's Muse to be a rival who's more on par with Daredevil himself. As such, it's going to be very exciting to see what a rematch between the two will look like as Daredevil, Born Again continues.